Thank you. Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 9th, 2023, the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Carter, is recognized for 60 minutes as a designee of the Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the subject of this special order.
I say it again.
Mr. Speaker, during my special order today, my colleagues and I will express grave concerns about the impact that our service members and their families are facing as a result of the Defense Health Agency's decision to proceed with Express Scripts Pharmacy Network contract. We're going to address how Tricare beneficiaries are no longer guaranteed access to their medication at their local pharmacy of choice. This decision by Express Scripts has severely impacted those who serve or have served our country honorably by reducing patients' access to quality health care. We continue to hear from pharmacists and patients across the country who are expressing concerns about these changes. Let's keep in mind that Express Scripts is currently under federal investigation by the Federal Trade Commission for their role in increasing prescription drug costs and unfair and deceptive practices towards pharmacies. Service members and their families who rely on their local pharmacists for critical care, such as cancer treatments or knowledge of their medical history, are now forced to seek that treatment elsewhere. It is our responsibility to ensure that their access to affordable, quality health care is not hindered. The Biden administration has tools at their disposal to stop this, but instead they're turning a blind eye. Express Scripts, Inc., a pharmacy benefit manager, PBM, for the Tricare program, while serving as a mail order and specialty pharmacy itself, made the pocket-lining move of reducing the number of Tricare's in-network pharmacies by almost 15,000 last October. Luckily, there are some businesses like Epic Pharmacy Network in my district that decided to continue filling these prescriptions despite the loss. On top of that, Kroger has announced that their pharmacies will no longer be able to serve Tricare beneficiaries. As a result, hundreds of thousands of men and women of the United States Armed Forces, military retirees, and their families are at risk of losing access to necessary prescription drugs and treatment. Since that date, beneficiaries in rural communities have been left with no local options to fulfilling their prescriptions. Look, I used to own and operate a local pharmacy. In fact, I used to own and operate 3 local pharmacies. I understand that no matter how badly we want to help people, at the end of the day, you're running a business. And that business needs to be profitable so that it can keep its doors open. The sudden and the wrongful reduction goes far beyond simply reducing access to care for Tricare beneficiaries. For those who need specialty medicines, the mail-order pharmacy used by Express Scripts threatens the medical integrity of the medicine and places the beneficiary at risk of receiving the medications late, damaged, or missing. Of greater concern, it eliminates the crucial role pharmacists play in protecting beneficiaries' health, especially those requiring multiple medications, where contraindications are always a concern. Overall, these pharmacy network changes will put service members and their families at risk in receiving the prescription drugs and treatments they need. These brave men and women dedicated their lives to defending our freedoms. And one of the things we promised them when they signed up is quality health care while they served and when they retired from the military as well. We're repaying them with a health care system that profits off of sick military personnel, family members, and retirees. Luckily, there are some businesses like Epic Pharmacy Network in my district that decided to continue filling these prescriptions despite the loss. I applaud that decision, but they never should have been put in this position to begin with. It's a pain for pharmacies, but it's detrimental to our military service members and their families. These brave men and women dedicated their lives to defending our freedoms. We're repaying them with a healthcare system that puts profits ahead of people. I brought this attention to the Defense Health Agency back in October to discuss how we could restore local pharmacy access to these patients. As a pharmacist myself, whose congressional district is home to every single branch of the military and a large veteran community, I was dumbfounded by their response. No one cares about losing access to their local pharmacy? You've got to be kidding me. It's one thing to make that claim to me. It's another to make it to the nearly 800 men and women who sent me their personal story detailing how losing access to their medicine is impacting their health and their well-being. Hunter, a service member from South Carolina, saw the cost of his prescription go up by almost 600% after Express Scripts made changes to the Tricare pharmacy program. Is this how we want to treat our heroes who have given everything for our country? By increasing the cost of their medication by 600%? Seriously. Or Jacqueline, who says this move has made the difference between stopping to get medicine on the way home or going an additional hour or more to the nearest base pharmacy before going home. For patients like James, a retired Air Force veteran, this move was more than just a frustration. It was a direct attempt to undermine small business. Why would the federal government choose large chains over supporting small businesses, he asked. In my neighborhood store, I'm not just a number. The service I receive is far better than the big box pharmacies. Once again, the large companies are trying to squeeze out the little ones. When will the federal government stop supporting this? It's time for the Biden administration to answer James' question, or at a minimum, the questions posed by a bipartisan coalition of legislators in the 2 letters I've led to the DHA on this issue. I'm mailing these stories to the White House because service members and their families shouldn't be cut out of their own health care decisions. I look forward to hearing from my Republican and Democratic colleagues about these issues. Mr. Speaker, at this time, I want to yield to a fellow pharmacist and a member of Congress, Representative Diana Harshbarger, who represents the 1st Congressional District of Tennessee, so she can share her thoughts on this subject as well.